So, here today with Dr. Kashyap, starting a new practice here in Dripping Springs area. Super excited to find out why you think we need another practice. So, let's start with first of all what you're starting. What can you share with us what you're starting, and then we'll get into kind of why you think we need it out here.
So absolutely. First of all, thanks, Josh. Appreciate you being here. So the name of my practice is Rêve Plastic Surgery, and Rêve stands for a dream in French. So the whole purpose of me opening this practice is so that people will feel a connection. They'll feel a new experience. I think that there are a lot of great plastic surgeons here in Austin. But I think that the community is looking for a new experience. They want to have a concierge experience. They want to have that. And I know that there are many things that are offered throughout the city. So that is fantastic. Speaking for myself, I feel like I've got something special to offer to my patients. And I think that that comes in the form of just authenticity and a connection, something where people will feel seen, where people can feel like they are going to be very, very well taken care of.
I do want to dip into that in a bit, but I'd like to back up a little bit because this isn't your first, obviously, job as a plastic surgeon. Can you talk a little bit about some of the places that you've been, some of the things that you've done,
hmm
that kind
hmm
of what builds your experience in this space?
Sure. So initially, I started off in academics. So being a cancer doctor, doing a lot of trauma, reconstruction. I was a director of microsurgery. But then I went on into the cosmetic space. And I have been at a number of different places. I've had the blessing of being able to work with a number of different practices. Learned a lot along the way. Have come up understanding the nuances of what's involved with a good cosmetic outcome. And I think it's a blessing to be able to see different experiences because at that point you kind of get an idea of I like this, but if I were in charge, this is what I would change. So this is my opportunity to do that now, where I get the opportunity, like just say, hey, listen, I know what this particular practice that I used to be a part of, this was what their goal was. And that's very admirable. But I think that in my hands, this is how I would change it, you know?
I've known you for a number of years. You have a very technical view, not only of the actual procedures,
hmm
but also of like you're kind of alluding to now how the business should run.
hmm
As you go through these other practices and you start to realize what you like and don't like, um, is there a core to what that is? Like, is it patient experience that you want to change? Is it outcome? Like, can you walk me through what exactly it is that you would like to change? And then that will kind of lead us into, I think, what you're trying to do with Rev.
Sure, sure. So I think the biggest thing is how did the patient feel through the experience? And every practice model has a different way that they decide they want to approach that. And I think I decided that the most important thing that I felt the patients were looking for, the thing that really satisfied them and made them feel um, like the journey was worth it, is when they feel seen. I think my philosophy is really like, I'm putting myself in your shoes. How would I want to be treated? How would I feel special? And I think that comes down to understanding that each of us is a human being, understanding that each of us is vulnerable, just the whole process of coming in. You're deciding to say, there's something about myself that I don't feel comfortable with. And then you're being vulnerable to, surgeon A, B, C, or D, whoever it is. And I take it as a trust that the patient is giving me. I think it is a wonderful gift. I think it is a gift when a patient is saying, I trust you to do your best and to take care of me, you know? So integrity, honesty, uh, empathy, these are really important things that help to make that connection. And I think that is what I want to see as I move forward with this practice and what Rev Plastic Surgery is going to bring to the community.
Interesting. So, as you have experienced this and you start to realize the points of the customer journey, patient
Mhm.
journey through these practices that you've worked at, have you developed some sort of core philosophy, values,
Hmm.
4 or 5 things you want them to feel as they go through and come out? Have
Yes.
you thought about that?
So, first of all, I think you brought up an interesting term, which is customer. And that's something I don't have in my lexicon, because I think the minute we say the word customer, we are putting monetary value on things. So that is something I will not do.
So that's part of what you saw at other places that you want to
It is.
get rid of.
It is. And I feel sometimes the patient senses that when they're made to feel like they're just a dollar sign. That's not what I want to do. You know, I want to make sure that, number one, so part of what's special about Rev plastic surgery is you come here, you're going to feel intention. You're going to feel warmth. You're going to, at every point of contact, you're going to see thoughtfulness. You're going to see attention to detail. So our ethos is everything has been thought of. And if we haven't thought of it, we're going to think about it, because every patient interaction is actually a learning point. So there's no such thing as perfection. Nobody is perfect. And my goal is to keep working towards making a patient feel comfortable, making a patient feel singular. They need to feel from the minute they look at the website, for example, they should feel like, oh, that's something that is actually tailored to me. So that in itself also brings up the next point, which is tailoring. There's no one size fits all for everybody. So my whole philosophy is I'm here to listen to you. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to tell you this is what's wrong with you. I'm here to share with you the idea that each and every one of us is on a journey. And I want to be a part of that journey should you choose to come to me, you know? And it's all about let's work together. Let's figure out what is going to be best for you. And let's use cutting edge science, evidence based medicine, to really hone in on what will be the right technique for you, because it's not a one size fits all.
In thinking about this term hospitality and what we really want our patients to feel as they move through this experience, especially differentiated to other practices. And again, you have years of experience in other practices. Are there some certain moments or things that you noticed that you wish you could have changed at that moment because you wanted that patient to feel special, loved, taken care of, focused on?
Yes, I think that's a great point. One of the things I found that a patient felt like they weren't really listened to was some of the most basic things. Things like, how much time did the doctor spend with me? You know, did I get what I feel like as quality time with my surgeon? Do I even know my surgeon? You know, did I as a patient have the opportunity to really get to know what makes them tick, what's their motivation, and um how are they going to keep me safe? How are they going to provide me with the best outcomes possible? And where's the evidence of that? So I think I had been in a number of practice models where I think the patients, one of their biggest frustrations was that they didn't get the opportunity to really meet their surgeon in a timely fashion or in a way where they felt that all of their questions were adequately answered. So one might ask, okay, great. How does that translate to Rev? And the answer is really, really making the patient the focus. So the biggest thing about Rev is that I'm going to be a very low, intentionally, a low volume practice. Sounds very counterintuitive, because if you are somebody who's interested in just let's crank this all out and let's just go for dollar signs, then this is terrible. Rev is intentionally a low volume practice for the sole reason that I can really concentrate on the patient. That gives me the opportunity to take the time to get to know them. So I will be very different in terms of there's no sales team, there's no uh, kind of like a sales manager who's going to first see the patient and say, "Oh, you're here for tummy tuck. Okay, this is the price. Sign here, do this." I understand that works for some practices, and that's fantastic for them. But I have chosen to be in a place where I want the patient to feel all of their questions have been answered. And that'll manifest in time. I'm going to book an hour and a half for a consult. A patient comes in, if they have a concern, an area of concern, I have all the time in the world. I'm not running to go see, oh, I have pre-ops, I have this, I have to go see a post-op, no. Just by nature of design, by very, very purposefully saying, I'm going to be low volume, not to be scarce. So the other thing I don't want is for patients to think, oh, you're low volume, that means that I'll never be able to book you, I'll never be able to talk to you. Absolutely not. This is low volume so that I can take the time to get to know you, to understand you, so that our visions will align, so that you're going to feel like, hey, you listened to me and you weren't here to sell me anything, because I'm not going to tell you you need this, this, and this, and this. If you say to me, I'm interested in this particular area of my body that I'm worried about, I'm not going to be, because a lot of people feel it's kind of skeezy, or it just feels wrong when it's like, well, hey, what about this? Or what about this? If somebody decides that they want to bring it up, then I'll talk about it. But I kind of feel like you lose, for me personally. And again, I am in no way commenting about other practices. I'm only commenting about me and what works for my view and vision of a medicine integration to a patient's life. I think it's important to build a bond, and that bond comes in. You tell me what you want to do. I have all the information. And if there's something I don't know, guess what? I'm going to get to the source and find out so I can give you the best answer.
Yeah, as you speak again, it's becoming more and more clear why you don't like the word customers. A
Yeah.
customer is someone that you're trying to maximize revenue off of, which
Right.
means as little time as possible in your entire practice is being built on more time. Like, how do we give more time?
Hmm.
Which is amazing because, like you mentioned it earlier, they're coming in, they have some insecurity or something that they want to change, some thought that they, think could be better about themselves, and to come in and be churned and burned in 5 minutes and pushed out
Yeah.
can almost like exaggerate that, versus taking all the worries, all the concern, what's going to happen before, what's going to happen during, let me walk you through it, let me help you understand what's right for you. What you're doing is you're replacing customer with relationship.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think relationship is exactly what this is, because when you decide to give me your trust and you give me your faith that, hey, I want to work with you. This isn't just a come on in, we're going to cut you open, and then once, your credit card is cleared, you're gone. No. This is a very purposeful relationship where let's figure out what we can do. How are you going to feel your best? And the other thing is, it's an opportunity for the patient to understand, like, there's a lot of misinformation out there, like a lot. Social media really sends out a lot of mixed messages.
Hmm. Doesn't
Um,
seem like an interesting or industry that social media would be big on.
Go figure. Um, and I think it's really important, for not just the discerning patient, because I think every patient is discerning, because every patient really has their own self-interest at heart. It's just degrees of access to information or the way they feel comfortable. I think those are really big things that separate the experience out, because there's some people who are looking for a like a monetarily appropriate thing that fits in their lifestyle, which I totally respect and I understand, and that's totally at everybody's discretion. Um, but what I want to offer is, number one, education, comfort, access. This is a surgeon centric patient experience. That means that the surgeon is ever present. It's not like, well, in this section you won't see the surgeon, in this part you will, and then post op is handled by, some nameless nurse. That's not how we're going to operate.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why the market is great, because there's choices. We all need choices.
Hmm.
Sometimes I want the cheap hotel that's quick, and
Sure.
sometimes I want the resort experience.
Right.
Sometimes I want the quick fast food, and sometimes I want to know the chef and have him come out and explain why he put the foods together.
Hmm.
And I think that's what you're saying is there's a whole market, it's all needed. Where I'm going to play is where you know the chef, so to speak, where you know the surgeon. There's plenty of time up front, there's relationship building. I'm going to know you before, I'm obviously going to be here during, and
Hmm.
then after, I'm also going to know you. Can you talk a little bit about after, like what will happen after they
Sure.
leave Rev for that initial?
Sure. So I think that the journey doesn't just begin at surgery, the journey begins before. And that is getting to know each other, which we've already kind of alluded to. Then, of course, there is the day of surgery. There's actually even the day before surgery where we offer relaxation massages so that you feel your best. You are feeling very good about the surgery. And then you even have more opportunity to ask any more questions that you might have because it's all about being reassured throughout the whole process. Then, of course, there's day of surgery, very relaxing. We offer a black car service so that if you would like to have discretion when you come in, you have a black car service that will pick you up, bring you to your appointments. And so this is all part of the service. Um, and then afterwards, post op day one, I will be seeing you. Now there's different decisions that a patient will make in terms of the level of comfort that they're seeking. They could either have it where, okay, post op day one, I'm going to see you. You come on in, you come with the car service, or you come as you wish. Or alternatively, I come to your house for the post op day one experience. I come with my nurse, bring all my tools that are necessary for an effective post procedure day visit so that I can adequately assess that you are safe, you're doing well.
How many practices would you say are out there where the surgeon will do a concierge service like that post op day one if needed to come out to you?
There's not a lot.
I
So
wouldn't think so.
right, right. And I think there's a reason for that, and that is it's a commitment from the surgeon, but I think that's what's the whole entity of Rev. I am a commitment to my patient. So I want to see them do well. We will even have the option if you're looking for an overnight nurse. So we can have a nurse who'll go home with you. I know that there are other, for example, it's I think it's quite well known in the Miami market, which it's a very prestigious area. There are many stories of uh, along the whole spectrum of um, good and maybe not as well received, but we're going to focus on the good. There's a lot of scenarios where people will stay at a beautiful recovery house of that nature. For us, we think a patient's going to recover the best at their home. You know, of course, this is a little different. We will also be offering collaborations with local hotels, high-end hotels, as people decide to come to our surgery practice from out of state, out of city, etc. Because our goal is that this should be a destination. Not only is the surgical journey fun, Dripping Springs is literally the gateway
Yeah.
to Hill Country, and Hill Country is absolutely beautiful. As you can attest, you were just there last
Yeah,
night. You
camping
were
around.
camping. So you can attest how beautiful it is just staring up at the stars. Dripping Springs has one of the highest number of wedding venues, for example, vineyards, etc. So yeah, we're going to offer a lot of different things that will differentiate us to give the patient that sense that they are the only thing that matters. They are not just a number, but we are going to 100% focus on safety, prioritizing excellent results. And a lot of this comes through making sure I'm not trying to do something exaggerated. I'm doing what is tried, true, that is timeless, ageless, that brings back that inherent part that already existed in you. because some people are looking for transformations of like change me from who I am into somebody else. Maybe this practice won't be for that type of person because I'm not going to be doing trends. There's a lot of trending type of things out here. But again, this is why education matters, where I can provide insight of, listen, I know that right now on social media, this is what's very, very popular. But let me tell you why. Number one, this has been around for like 70 years. It's nothing new. And let me tell you, this is why this is the right thing for you.
One of the things that you mentioned I think is interesting is that you would like people to fly in to Rev, and I think that that's going to be a great destination, like you said, for a number of reasons:
Mm-hmm.
the spas, the hotels, the beauty of the hill country. What is Rev going to do to help promote its view of patient journey nationally, to kind of share that information, share that dream, that
Mm-hmm.
Rev,
Mm-hmm.
and get
Mm-hmm.
people to fly in?
I think that's a great question. And I think the answer to that is quality speaks for itself. I think that when you have a reputation, it speaks for itself. You There's a lot of people out there who will say they can do a lot of things, and I respect everybody's talents. But I think when you offer the kind of experience that we're offering, where it's so attention driven, where it is so singular, I don't think that concept has geographic limitations. And I think that's why it will expand organically. I think when you come and you tell me, "Hey, I went to this great restaurant. I really loved it. I'm going to go to it because number one, I trust you and I know you have good taste, and that's why I will go there." So I think in the same way, very organically, we are going to develop a presence because number one, I don't think I could ever embark on this journey without not just having belief in myself, but having amassed the or been blessed with the opportunity to get the experience that is required to be able to offer these kinds of surgical outcomes. Because being evidence based driven, being very um, meticulous. That's a word that is thrown around very lightly. But when you look at, like, I curate and carefully collate all of my data, and I make sure I know what my infection rates are, most my complication rate. I'm well below national average. In all the practices I've been in, I've been the lowest complication rate. And I think that comes with not being too much of a Yahoo, trying to do subtle with safety. And I know that I keep saying the word safety because I think it's very, very important to make sure a patient understands safety is not just something that happens. Safety is something that is achieved through intentional work, through very meticulous attention to a process. So I think, to round out the answer, I think that our product, which is me and my team, um, they're going to speak for themselves. And I think it's not just word of mouth, but it's the sincerity of heart that each of my patients and relationships will spread throughout. And I think that's what matters. And I think that's what builds a solid foundation for any practice of this kind, because you have to have a product that you can stand behind.
Yeah. Through this whole discussion about what Rev is going to be, um, it really just seems to center on like hospitality, relationship, and then this last piece is wow. You want them to walk away wowed,
Mm-hmm.
and then that is why they go tell everybody, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, to to kind of close out where we are, um, you've been talking about this for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
since I've known you.
Yep.
What you wanted to do, as you said earlier in our discussion, the things you wanted to change, the things that the way you wanted patients to feel that you thought that they deserved to feel and that they weren't at times. So, what are you personally most excited about? Because when you start talking about this, you go and you go and you go, and I've heard all different aspects of it over the years.
Yes, you have.
You you personally though, as the surgeon, as the heart of the dream, in the middle of it, what is it that excites you the most?
You know, the whole process is scary and exciting all at once. But I think the thing that excites me the most is having that accomplished moment. And I wouldn't even say accomplished, but I feel like there's that moment when you can see it in your patient's eyes. You see it when they just light up and you can see that they are just so happy with what they decided to do, because there's a lot of hesitancy, especially in the world of cosmetics, because it's a completely elective procedure. So this is not like, hey, you have a broken bone, we got to fix this, right? This is 100% elective. But when I see that look in the patient's eyes, when they say, oh my God, this was worth it, and that what I did, number one, I came to the right place, I came to the right surgeon, that is the best part of my journey. That is literally the most exciting part of this. Being able to see the patient feel the excitement, the the culmination of their journey, and to see that they got the outcome they were looking for. I think that is just a fantastic
Yeah.
situation.
We've covered a number of the differences between your experience in previous practices and what you want to build with Rev. And one of those key anchors that you've made is this idea of relationship. Can you tell me about a specific example previously where you felt that you created that for the patient with the patient
Hmm.
and that it was a big win for you and you
Hmm.
kind of had this aha of like every single patient should feel this?
Yeah. So I think it just comes down to connection. Connection is very, very important, and there are connections that really matter. There was this is when I was in the academic setting doing cancer. I had this one patient who, she had a cancer. It was a it wasn't breast cancer per se, but it was a skin cancer, a squamous cell carcinoma, which had eaten her breast. And she had refused to see doctors, and she was all about traditional medicine in terms of, actually, sorry, non-traditional medicine, looking at alternative types of therapies. Unfortunately, this led to her, having a very advanced
Mm.
kind of a cancer. And she had actually been through the practice and seen two other surgeons, and she refused to work with either of them. She was just like, I'm not, this person. She was a very, very steadfast, uh, iron-willed lady who just had her belief system, which we're all entitled to, and I respect everybody's belief systems. But as a doctor, I'm here to try to, the first rule is do no harm, and that is to help. I worked with this lady, and I can tell you, we forged a relationship. I broke through to her to the point where, and it's a very touching moment for me, because she was like, all right, I'm in. I'm going to do what you say, because I believe that you are here for me. Even though the other surgeons were saying exactly like, this is medical science. We can treat your tumor. We can help you with this giant mass that's now going to your lungs. We can help you, or at least it's going to your rib cage. It got to this is when I felt like we had a real win, because she came to me at one of our appointments and she said, okay, Dr. K, here are a number. She was very much into crystals. She said, here's a number of crystals. One of these is for you. And as it happens, I have it right here, and I will forever keep this crystal. Um, she said, the crystal chooses you. And so I had chosen this crystal, and we worked together, and we worked to achieve a goal of getting that cancer addressed. So I think this is where being in very, very in tune with the patient, understanding where they come from, what motivates them, and how can I best help them, that is a win. that is when because everybody doesn't have to agree. Like a patient has a right to decide what's right for them. And I might not agree with them based on my years of training, but this is a free country. You can do whatever you want to do. But it was a win. I was able to help her surgically, and we moved forward in ways that other excellent surgeons, might I add, they were very, very good surgeons, but they couldn't make that connection. So I think that is something that really matters, seeing a patient from their perspective.
What your story highlights is that there's a difference between technical knowledge,
Hmm.
which the other doctors had as well,
Yes, yes.
experience, which I'm sure they had as well,
Hmm.
and being able to connect with the patient. And sometimes you can have all the technical knowledge in the world, but if you can't execute it because they don't believe in it, don't want it, have bad information, are approaching it wrong, have the wrong thought process, whatever it is, you need somebody with a human side to be able to cross that bridge. And I know that that's one of the things you want to do at Rev. That's probably the thing you want to do at Rev.
Yeah.
Like, again, you can get the technical experience at a lot of places. You want to bridge the gap to be human. I've known you for a number of years, and I know you sit in the middle of a lot of worlds.
Hmm.
You're very intelligent. You also hang out with people like me who aren't, right? And yeah, you
Just so y'all know, he is one of the most intelligent human beings I know.
but you sit in the middle of a lot of worlds. And I think one of the things you've always done well as a human is to bridge those worlds. So being able to see you mix your years of experience and your natural gifts, I think is going to be really exciting over at Rev.
I think so. And I think it's an opportunity. And, this also kind of brings me to the point of what kind of a what kind of a patient should come to Rev. Like who's going to come here?
Who wants the resort? Dr. Kashyap, tell me, who wants the resort?
I think the type of patient I'm hoping to reach is the person who is inquisitive, the person who is uh looking for a circumspect kind of a journey, somebody who is involved in their care, somebody who is looking for long-term results, not trendy, flashy kind of things. Because I'm not about that. I've been trained in all of these things, and it's all about deciding what is the right thing for each patient. And again, this is where the relationship works. It's not me telling you what you need. So that I have to very, very clearly clarify. It's not about me telling you, oh, you need this, you need this. No, it's okay. Here is a problem. Here is what the natural process of, let's say, aging is. Your face will move more medial and downwards as a result of aging. As we all go through this inevitable journey, there's reasons for it. There's gravity, there's ligamentous changes, there's changes in volume of the facial thirds, for example. Then we can talk about what is the right procedure that can help you reach the goals you're looking for. Somebody who's looking for something too dramatic, I'll be very honest and say, look, I might not be the right person for you. My goal is going to be to make sure that the patient understands I'm here to offer safe procedures with long lasting results that gives rejuvenation and brings out the inside, because I know everybody on the inside, they are feeling fantastic. I want their outside then to match their inside. So that is my goal. So that's the kind of patient that we're looking for, people who are really intentional about what kind of a journey they're looking for, and um, will be involved in the process, because that's what I'm here for, to help be a part of the process, make the journey something that they enjoy and that they feel comfortable in.
Well, Dr. Kashyap, thanks for sharing your dream, your dream that was a dream, and now it's going to be a business. It's in a beautiful part of the country. It's in a beautiful building, and you're going to help people feel beautiful inside. I'm very excited for it. Thank you for sharing your dream with us.
Well, thanks a lot, Josh. I appreciate you.